I mean, it's quite a series of events, John. I mean, what can you tell our listeners to kind of help them through this situation?
Well, there's different things that come into play when you're talking about how the divorce is going to be either settled or what would happen at trial. In Rhode Island, what does a spouse have in the way of value or rights to a home that the other spouse owned prior to the time they got married? So even, let's say, before they even knew each other, before they even met, say in an example, in 2013, this guy, a man, purchases a house. It's in his name only. He's the only one on the mortgage. He's the only one on the deed. And let's say in this example, we'll call him the husband. He's not a husband yet. He hasn't even met his wife yet.
Yeah.
But he puts $100,000 as a down payment. The purchase price is $400,000. He then meets the woman of his dreams. They get married in 2015. When they get married, the house is worth $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
They move into the house. Now, there's going to be different things that happen during this process that are going to weigh in the decision. But to keep it simple for now, a lot of people would think, okay, well, at this point in time, whether they're married 1 year, 20 years, whatever happens, why would the wife have a right to any part of this house? This guy owned it before he even knew her. Does the wife have a right to any of this? So even though she doesn't have an absolute right where it's mandated by a statute, she does have or will almost certainly be given a right to a portion of the appreciation and value.
Sure.
And it sounds so complicated right now, but if you think of it in terms of two numbers, all you have to know for the formula is two numbers. What was the value at the time of the marriage? So in this, we know the value was $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, what about the fact that the husband bought it for $400,000? How does that factor in? Throw it right out the window. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't even factor. What about the fact that the husband put $100,000 down payment of his own money before he even knew her? What about that? How does that factor in? Throw it right out the window. Doesn't matter. So the only value that we want is the value at the time of marriage, $500,000, right?
Yep. Yep.
And then what is the value at the time of the divorce hearing or when they signed the settlement contract? Well, that was 1 million.
Okay.
So all we have to know is those few values. Now, someone might say, well, what about the fact that when the wife filed, it was only worth $950,000? It appreciated $50,000 before the divorce was over. That goes right out the window too. No, that's right. So all you have is two factors: the value at the time of the marriage, which is $500,000, and the value at the time that they're getting divorced, actually going through with the hearing, and that's $1 million. So the wife is going to almost certainly be awarded a portion of that $500,000.
Yeah.
Now, the last part in the formula, again, just super simple. You may hear many attorneys say, well, 50%. You hear 50% thrown out there. And I want to know that it's the same analysis goes into that as what I just said. There is no hard and fast law. There's no statute that says it's 50%.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, often it's 50%, but it's going to be determined by things like how long the marriage was, so the length of the marriage, the conduct of the parties during the marriage, the contribution of each party during the marriage. You could, as far as the acquisition of assets, but also contributions as a homemaker or maybe a mom. A likely result, again, no guarantee, there's nothing set in stone, but a likely result in a case like this is husband, who owned this house before he ever knew his wife, is going to give his wife $250,000 because the house that he owned appreciated $500,000. And if the wife was contributing either financially, what if she was paying half the mortgage? She might have been paying the whole mortgage. We don't know what their arrangement was, but if she's contributing, and if she's contributing in not only a monetarily contribution, but a contribution as a homemaker in some way, or paying utilities or groceries or helping out, whatever it might be. So because of that, this pre-owned non-marital asset is going to mean that the wife is going to receive $250,000, and the husband's going to have to pay that.